just over 400 meters. In modern history, great powers have various means of expansion. In the concession became a relative and flat way of aggression, but with very different strategic intentions and the operation of power. What's the difference between a concession and a concession? Why did the great powers choose this approach to infiltrate and control and our country? Today's show, let's talk about it. Concessions and lands of modern powers. What's the difference? Let's sort it out figuratively first. Which places belong to the concession? Which places belong to the concession land? During the late Qing dynasty to the Republic of China, well-known concessions include the Shanghai Public Settlement, Shanghai French Concession, Tianjin Japanese Concession, Zhejiang and Han Accent Concession, and the Public Concession on Gulangyu Island. And the concession was German-occupied Qingdao, appropriate Yantai, French occupation of Guangzhou Bay, and then Leshan, which was taken over by Japan, Dalian, and other places. Usually certain neighborhoods or districts in the city, the range is very small. It usually includes the entire city and the vast surrounding area, even the corresponding ports or waters. For example, Shanghai's concession is limited to Shili-Inkang, and Qingdao City in Jiaozhou Bay is the entire concession. It's geographically much broader. There are both coastal cities and inner cities, such as Hankou, and Zhejiang has a concession. Even Chongqing, which lies on the southwest border, concession also established by Japan. The concession appeared earlier than the concession, and its origin can be traced back to the first Crow, the Treaty of Human after the war. This treaty supplements the Treaty of Nanking. Fuzhou Xiamen, the right to live in Ningbo and Shanghai. This became the legal basis for the concession. 1845. The British demarcated the first concession in Shanghai. This marked the birth of the concession on Chinese territory. And concession was a little bit more complicated. Some scholars believe that Macau was the earliest concession, although Portugal acquired Macau through improper means in the late Ming dynasty. But dragonflies still retain some sovereignty over it. Was a servant in 1887 after the conclusion of the peace treaty. And the modern concession in the true sense. Dating back to 1860, Britain forced the Qing government to rent Kowloon. Kowloon was then directly incorporated into British Hong Kong. It's no longer a concession. The biggest difference between a concession and a concession, it is reflected in the way of administrative management. The initial management of the concession belongs to the Chinese government, eventually established homemade systems in Shanghai and other places. The concession was formed. This is similar to the three-power sharing model in Western countries. Have a meeting of taxpayers, also known as a parliament. The publication bureau is equivalent to the government. There is also a trial of public equipment, self-governing institutions like today's courts. Take British rule in Wei Highway as an example. The King of England directly appoints the Governor-General. The governor holds the legislature, executive, and judicial powers. Wei, all of Haywell's affairs are under direct British control. Although the concession and the concession land have many similarities, but the former is called the latter. On the surface, there are still some. A symbol of the country's sovereignty. The latter is more colonial. It seriously undermines China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Either of these two forms all reflect the history of humiliation in modern China. Seriously lost.